Ready when you are.
George Elias-Jones, The Story of Brinton Manor. Close the door, Roxanne screeched to Jack. I can't, the dog's in the way, Jack said to Roxanne while using all his force to keep the ferocious Rottweiler out. Jack, I'm scared. Why did we even listen to that old folk tale? Cried Roxanne to her best friend. It all started on Halloween night, when Jack and Roxanne were sat around a fire with Jack's family. Jack's 95-year-old great-grandma, who looked like a fragile, old, wise, scary woman with the wart on the side of her nose, crooked teeth that bared yellow crookedness with every smile she made. When she sat down, she was always sat with a hunch like a weeping willow. She started to tell an old folk tale about a diamond ring that belonged to Jack's great-great-grandmother, and how the ring had got lost in the remains of what was left of the grandest house in all of Yorkshire, situated on the heart of the Yorkshire Dales. It was a cold winter's eve, and the snow was settling on the ground with crystal footprints from where travellers had crossed over the icy frozen stream, following the overgrown pathways and dirty ice tracks to the enormous iron gates to the large manor. A little while later, after the story had finished, Roxanne decided she wanted to find the old manor and went to convince Jack to do so. Jack didn't need much convincing, as he wanted to find the diamond ring that was once so special and worth so much to his family. When Jack's family were asleep, Jack and Roxanne creaked downstairs as slowly and quietly as they could, trying to make sure the stairs didn't creak. When they got to the bottom of the stairs, they tiptoed to the large wooden doorway of the cottage. They leaped down the stairs and pelted it down the long, narrow pathway. When they got as far away from the cottage as they could, Jack and Roxanne sat down for a little while. Then something suddenly caught Jack's eye. Look over there, Rox, Jack whispered to his friend. As Roxanne looked over, she also noticed in the distance a faint view of what appeared to be an outline of a bridge that stood over an icy river. Jack grabbed Roxanne's hand and said, "Come on," with excitement in his voice. With the help of Jack, Roxanne got up and followed Jack into the darkness of the trees. They swerved in and out of the trees, trying to find this way to get there. They finally came to the bridge. The bridge was an old wooden bridge that looked as if it was about to collapse. It was very, very fragile and already had planks missing. The rope that was holding the bridge up was frayed and rotten away. After looking at it for a couple of minutes, Jack and Roxanne exchanged looks. Should we take the risk? Jack said to his friends. I think we should, but it's up to you, Roxanne replied. After umming and ahhing for a couple of seconds, Jack started to walk towards the bridge. As he approached the bridge, he became extremely uneasy and didn't want to walk any closer. While Roxanne was telling him to hurry up, time and time again, he found it in him to cross the bridge. Under his weight, the bridge started swaying and shaking. Once Jack had crossed, it was Roxanne's turn. After a couple of steps, one of the planks crashed to the river below. Roxanne let out a little scream and Jack turned around to see Roxanne looking terrified and as if she was about to cry. Jack walked slowly back across the bridge to take her hand and lead her over. After they got across the bridge, they found a pathway that looked like it hadn't been walked on for ages. They started to walk up it and came across two huge iron gates with Brinton Manor on the top. That's the house my great-grandmother was talking about, said Jack with an excited whisper. It took both of them all their strength to push open one side of the rusty gates. It opened with an almighty scream of the road dying. As they pushed the right-hand side of the gate, the left hand crashed down, narrowly missing Roxanne. Jack shouted and pulled her out of the way as the dust from the flake and rust covered Roxanne. Are you all right? Said Jack with panic in his voice. I'm fine, gasped Roxanne. Let's just get out of here, get in there before anything else dangerous happens. with a dirty brass handle and a large doorknob with a lion's head on it. "What should we do now?" whispered Roxanne. "Do you think we should knock?" "That's not going to help, silly. No one lives here anymore," chuckled Jack. He put out his hand and touched the large doorknob. As he did so, the door swung open with surprising ease to reveal a vast hallway covered in dust and rubble from where the ceiling above had fallen in. Roxanne and Jack looked from left to right in the gloom to see open doors, some hanging off their hinges revealing the rooms beyond. On the left-hand side they saw a huge archway where doors had once hung. Jack and Roxanne looked at each other and nodded in silent agreement. As they walked through the archway, they stepped into an amazing room covered with ornate panels, huge, dirty, broken chandeliers drooping from the ceiling. Large cobwebs caught on the panelling, old paintings hanging on the walls, so dirty they could barely be seen. "This has got to be the grand hall your great-grandmother was talking about," said Roxanne. "Yeah, this is where the diamond ring was hidden," Jack replied. For the next 2 hours the pair searched nook and cranny, every bit of panelling, pulling away cobwebs and moving large paintings to see if anything was hidden behind them. They pulled at skirting boards and any loose timber they could find, but the room kept its secret hidden. Eventually, Roxanne sat down in the middle of the floor and sighed. "Nothing, not a thing." She looked up at the big Gothic window at the end of the grand hall. "It's almost daylight," she said. We should head home. We're not going to find anything." "You're right," said Jack. "Come on." He put out his hands and helped Roxanne to her feet. At that moment there was a sound of a door banging deep within the house, and the frantic barking of a large dog. Jack and Roxanne looked at each other in horror as the frantic barking came nearer. "Run for it!" Jack shouted. "This way, I see a door!" screamed Roxanne. She pushed the door and ran through into a small room, closely followed by Jack, who turned around to push the door shut after them, and was just in time to see a large Rottweiler bearing down on them. "Close the door!" screeched Roxanne. "I can't, the dog's in the way!" Jack said to Roxanne, using all his force to keep out the ferocious Rottweiler. "Jack, I'm scared. Why did we even listen to that old folk tale?" cried Roxanne to her best friend. As the dog leapt wildly against the door, a rough voice boomed out. "Rebel, leave coming!" Instantly, the terrifyingly ferocious barking had stopped, and the dog retrieved back to the owner of the voice. Jack and Roxanne exchanged shocked glances in the now overwhelming silence. "What are we going to do now?" mouthed Roxanne to Jack. But Jack didn't have time to answer. "Get out here, now!" bellowed the loud voice. Jack and Roxanne slowly opened the door and sheepishly walked out to face a man in a white workman's hat and a bright orange high-vis jacket, holding on to the Rottweiler that was now quiet and obedient by the collar. "What the hell are you doing in here?" yelled the man. "This is private property. Didn't you see the signs outside?" "No," murmured Jack. "It was dark. We couldn't see anything," Roxanne chipped in. "We're really sorry," said Jack. "This used to be my great-great-grandmother's house, and we are staying with my great-grandmother. And she told us about a story about the diamond ring that was hidden here. So we came to look for it, but we couldn't find anything." Yeah, I've heard that story many a time," said the man sarcastically. "Don't you think the new owner would know if anything valuable was hidden here? The only things left in this place are dirty old paintings and broken chandeliers. The owner can't afford to do this place up, so he had to redevelop the land. Anyhow, diamond ring would be worth enough to rebuild this place up. This place is about to be torn down and housing estate built here. The bulldozers are due at first light. They should be here any minute." "We really are very sorry," Roxanne said guiltily. story. We didn't mean to break in. Okay, said the man. I'll walk you to the gates and make sure you're off the premises. Jack and Roxanne walked out of the house and back towards the large iron gates, closely followed by the man with Rebel by his side. Once they were through the gates, he stood and watched as the two walked in the direction of the bridge. Shame there wasn't really a diamond ring, said Roxanne. Still, I suppose it was a good adventure. Yeah, said Jack wistfully. It would have been nice to find the ring and save the old manor. But hey, I suppose the old man was right. A ring would have not been enough. A ring would have only been worth a few thousand. For the next few days, bulldozers tore down the walls and the roof of the manor, inch by inch, until eventually they started destroying the grand hall. Swing shawls ripped at the panelling and shattered what was left of the chandeliers. But the old manor held on to its secret. The machines moved down the room like prehistoric monsters, eating everything in its wake towards the big Gothic window. Below the window, in the corner, hung a small dirty painting of a woman wearing a red dress. Her hands in her lap. On her finger she wore a beautiful, delicate diamond ring. She appeared to stare out of her painting at the approaching destruction. Anyone who took the time to closely look at the unassuming painting would have seen on the bottom left the title of the diamond ring, and on the bottom right the artist's signature, Leonardo da